Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really happy to introduce you to today's guest, Stephanie Ghoston. She helps professional men and women to stop settling in life and love and take the leap to a more extraordinary, meaningful, and purpose-filled life. She's also a love coach and matchmaker with the Paul C. Brunson Agency, an award-winning boutique matchmaking and lifestyle coaching firm. Sorry about that. She's a regular contributor for the Black Life Coaches Network and has been featured on blogs such as Huffington Post, For Harriet, and The Art of Perspective. Her recent offerings include a discussion series on the untold stories of women in power and business and Activate Your Extraordinary, an audio coaching program designed to help women stop hiding, get clarity, and start living on purpose. She's also a 2-time best-selling author, featured in the 20 Beautiful Women and I Am Beautiful compilations, and the forthcoming author of The 42%. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, I'm really interested in talking to you. So let's get started. Tell me, who do you help?
So I help people who are stuck in a rut, people who are settling, or people who are unclear of their purpose. A lot of people are kind of living on autopilot and they don't know how to get off of autopilot. So I help them get into manual gear. They know that they're destined for more, and that the everyday mediocrity and just kind of going through the motions is tiring to them, but they're afraid to take the risk and escape that comfortable place that they're in. They know they want to go beyond what they currently are doing, but they really have to leave what's comfortable and what's safe and what they know. So I help them work through that transition while also making sure to care for themselves, and so they can come out better on the other side.
Fear is really one of those things that hold us back. I mean, it can be that not so much that we're afraid to fail, but sometimes we're afraid to be successful because we don't know how it feels. And so we do get stuck. So what are 2 or 3 problems, and these can be real or perceived, that you come across, and how do you help these people solve them?
Yeah, a lot of people come to me saying, Stephanie, I have no clue what my purpose or passion is in life. And these can be people who are just out of college that kind of are like, what do I do now? Or I work with like mid-career professionals. Maybe they've achieved some level of success in their career, but maybe not in their love life, or maybe they're just kind of stuck and stagnant and saying, this doesn't serve me anymore. This doesn't light my fire. I'm not excited to go to work. I'm not motivated to do any of this. And I know I want to do something else. I just don't know what it is. So for them, they really need some direction and figuring out what's most important to them and why, and what's holding them back from greatness. You talked about the fear of success. Often some of these people are worried about what other people are going to think. They're worried about, they have a family or obligations that they feel like they need to fulfill. So they have to get it right. They can't just take a risk and go out there. They really are concerned about getting it right. I also speak with people who they know that they need to make a change and they want to make a change. They don't know how to practically, how to untangle your life after a divorce, how to physically pick up, move across the country, how to move, how to try a brand new industry, how to, quit your job and start your own business. So sometimes they don't even know the first step to take, and I help them with that. And then I think the third camp of people really are people who they're just not sure that they have what it takes in order to make that jump. They're worried, they have confidence issues, or they just don't think that they're enough. And these three groups of people are interested in what I have to say because I bring a new perspective. So all my clients, I make sure that they know that I'm on their side, but I'm going to challenge them. Most of my clients come with a story. There's some story that they have. I can't do this, or I'm not this kind of person. I'm not built for this, or and I challenge them on their story. And most people haven't had their story challenged very many times in their lives. So it's kind of a wake up call where they're like, are you serious? Well, I don't think I'm a morning person, or I'm just not that kind of person. Um, and I think the other thing that they appreciate is that it's not just, the heart work and the mind work. It's actually the physical and logistical work to get those things done, to take the leap. I go practical. Here's what you need to do to find a new house. Here's what you need to do to untangle yourself from this divorce. And I have that perspective because I'm also a lawyer, and I've also been through a lot of the challenges that they're facing.
That's really interesting that you have the law background. And I think I was reading in your bio, you said you're a recovering lawyer. I just thought that was funny. But that is a really interesting perspective because so many times we're bombarded with mindset, mindset, mindset. Great. I've got a positive mindset.
Right.
But like you said, if it's not a practical thing, I can be a very positive person, but if I don't have the skills to understand, well, if I'm going to buy a new house, where do I start? Who do I talk to? What do I need to do to start working towards that? So you actually break it down so you're working with them on their mental status, but you take it to the real level, I guess.
Right.
And give
Yes.
them the real basic steps on how to do things. I think that's really phenomenal. So what do you think that your big magical ability is of all the things that you've expressed that really makes you the ideal person to help these people who have these needs, where they want to get unstuck and they want to have somebody to, not only kick them in the rear, but maybe hold their hand along the way. What do you think is your biggest gift in that power that you offer?
That's a great question. I think that what I offer is a lot of these life transitions and these leaps of faith, they seem so big in my client's mind. And the distance between them and their goal is this huge gulf. And that's why it's so overwhelming and so daunting and so scary. But I help them find ordinary ways to bring out and become extraordinary. And so the transition doesn't seem so huge when we talk about baby steps, and small life changes, small habits. A question I love to ask is like, how can you change this area of your life 5% today? I work in very small increments, and that's manageable. And the long-term picture looks like I literally asked them to add up. So I had a client who wanted to lose weight. She had a pound goal, which seemed very far away. 30 pounds seems like a lot. But
It
if
is a
you
lot.
lose, that's a lot, right? But if you lose half a pound a day, that's not as much. Or we started exercising. So she in her mind was thinking, I got to exercise, 2 hours a day, 4 times a week. But I said, how about you just start parking farther away from where you work? How about you walk for 5 minutes each day? And I had her add up the 5 minutes for each day, and we worked together for 3 months. She exercised for at least 5 to 10 minutes every single day for 3 months. That added up to so much more than if she would have tried to work out for 2 hours one day and then given up the next day. So I think it adds up to a huge transformation over time, and people really appreciate that because they feel like they have access to that transformation. When it's so far away, you can't picture it, you can't see it, you don't see the changes, it's really, really tough.
So,
Um,
so how do you go about getting people to look at their goals and break down their goals? And how do you get them to answer or ask themselves the right questions?
Yeah, I think the very first step is I create a great relationship. Not that we have to like each other or be friends, but from the beginning, I establish certain expectations, certain agreements, and certain boundaries with my clients so that they know that I'm going to challenge them and they feel comfortable, pushing back on things that I might tell them as well. I have, from my coach, I learned this thing I call the yeah, but. So I could tell them something and they agree, and like I can see them. Their head is nodding. They're like, yes, yes, I get it. Yeah, but dot dot dot. I want them to challenge me. And so I bring that to them too. When I hear excuses, when I hear complaining, when I hear that story again, I challenge them and it becomes a reoccurring pattern such that when they're not working with me, I want that to resonate in their head as well. Well, okay, I know I don't feel like this, or I don't want to do this. But Stephanie would say, and they can hear that voice in their head. And a lot of my clients have told me that where they say, you know, we didn't have a call today, but when I didn't feel like doing this, I heard you in my head saying, are you sure about that? How's that working for you? So, I create a relationship where challenge is not a bad thing. And I want my clients to question their thoughts, question their motives just as much as they question me. And I practice that during our sessions.
So, when you're working with people, do you consider yourself a life coach? Is that what? How do you view yourself?
Yeah, I consider myself a life coach. People ask me, do you do this? Do you do that? I consider myself a life coach because people come to me with all kinds of problems about their life and I help them move forward. I always tell people I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't treat and diagnose people. If there are other issues that are going on that are preventing you from moving forward in your life, that's not something I do. But if you're looking, there's a goal in the future that you want it, that you have, that you've set, and you need help getting there. You need encouragement. You need motivation. You need the logistics to get there. That's how I help you. So I think people are. It's still a funny term. People are kind of like, "What's a life coach? What do you do?" And everybody has a different way of titling themselves. I was a motivational speaker for Pastries and Champagne, as you mentioned, the women's empowerment group about women empower in business, and I think they called me the lifestyle architect. So, call me the queen of England if you want. I'm here to help you. I'm all about my client. I'm very client centered and focused on providing the best service that I can. And I think taking myself away from that equation has served me well with my clients, whereas they've come from other coaches or seen other coaches that talk about themselves all the time. It's about me, 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 my qualifications, what I've done. I have a loose curriculum that I have, but I go off, life happens. So if I have something planned for that call or that session and they come and say, you know what, Stephanie, today my mom is really upsetting me. That's life. So let's talk about that. Let's work through that. Let's work through the everyday stuff. And then let's also work towards your goals that you said you wanted to set.
Right, because it's our everyday life that gets in the way of our everyday life.
Exactly.
so,
Exactly. Exactly.
so, what do you think when, again, we've been talking about life coaching and what does that really mean? What do you think are some of the big misconceptions that people bring to the table when they think of what a coach or a life coach is going to be able to help them with or do for them?
Yeah, I love this question because we spoke about it earlier a little bit when you said that I do the mindset and the logistics. A
Hmm.
lot of people come and say, life coaching is so woo woo and ephemeral and very intangible. I don't trust it. It's all about emotions and positivity and affirmations and vision boards. I need concrete. I want tangible. And I think that comes just from a misconception of what coaching is. And like I said, I think part of the issues that people face, half of it is mindset and half of it is logistics. And I provide both of those services. So they go hand in hand. I don't think you can have one without the other. I also get people who kind of challenge the notion of having a coach versus I have family, I have a best friend, I have a good circle of friends, I have a mentor, I pray, I go to church, that's enough. And I always tell them I'm a neutral third party. I don't know you. I don't have any bias towards you, against you, or for you. I'm not a yes woman or man for you. I'm dedicated to listening to you, to getting the results you want, to getting the results you deserve, and that's very, very rare. Um, People in your life that especially care about you, they have motives, good and bad sometimes. Mostly good. I think good most of the time. But because of their filter, their lens, they give you advice based on what they've done or based on keeping you safe and comfortable and happy in their sense of the words. And that's not my goal.
Right.
So
That
very
does
different.
make sense because our family members, no matter how much they love us, they're often overprotective. That reminds me of my
Yeah.
mother, and this was years ago. My mother passed away, but she was in the hospital, and I went to see her. And this may seem very simple, but I went to tell her that I was going to take my daughter to Disney World, which was about a 2.5 hour drive away. And my mother's wisdom was, oh, no, don't go. It's too far for you to drive alone with my granddaughter. And it was like, well, Mom, I'm, 27 years old. I'm pretty safe. I'm a safe driver. I don't talk to strangers. And I know I can, back then there were no cell phones, but I said I can pull over if I need help and make a phone call
Yeah.
and everything because she was afraid that, it's 2 hours away from home and it would be dangerous. But that's an example of when somebody loves you, they will give you advice to not do something that may be out of your comfort zone just because they don't want to see you fall and or have the potential of getting hurt.
Yes,
Of,
exactly.
of
And that's funny that you mentioned that. I think everyone has that family member, whether it's their mom or their dad or their, cousin, aunt, who it's sometimes I think it's a generational thing, and sometimes, like you said, I think she just wants you to be safe and protect you from harm and hurt. My mom said, she comes from a generation where you work one job your whole entire life, no matter if you hate it or not. You show up, you make your money, pay your bills. You don't worry about being happy at work. Oh, God forbid. It's something that you do. It's an obligation. And so having a daughter who was a lawyer and is now a life coach, that transition for her was, it's hard for her to imagine. So her comments when I told her that I was going to be a life coach were in the same vein of, I want you to be successful. I want you to have stable employment. I want you to, not be on the street. And that came out of her, fears, her experience, and her want to keep me safe and out of harm's way.
Right. Moms are really good about that. I want to ask you a little bit more. I was looking at your website and you have ways for people to work with you. And it's interesting because not only are you a life coach, but you're also a love coach, which, that's a whole nother interview to talk about that. But I was looking at, you have you do what's called a transformational overhaul where you actually work with someone over a 6-month period and I think that's important for people to understand that yes, there are situations where maybe you only need an answer to some pressing problem today.
Right,
Like in an attorney situation, get me out of jail. That would
right,
be okay. And the attorney shows up, bails you out of jail. That's like in the moment type transitioning. But what we're talking about is with life coaching is where you're helping someone to figure out who they are, what their purpose is, so that they can get unstuck. Because it seems like in our lives we go through these phases, up and down and all around. But at some point in life, I think it really is something that happens where you have to look beyond the family, beyond the church, because you need that third party person with no skin in the game who can kind of see you and your situation for what it is,
Right.
and then of course offer you that concrete advice. So before I let you go on this, I did want to ask you about the book that you're currently working on called The 42%. Can you just tell me a little bit about what motivated you to write that book and what it's about?
Yeah, sure. I'm so as you talked about through my own coaching business, I do a lot of love coaching, relationship coaching, and I'm also a matchmaker and online dating expert for a matchmaking firm. So for the Paul C. Brunson Agency, most of our clients are, excuse me, most of our clients are African American women and men. And I'm interested in the topic of love, and then this demographic, especially being a African American woman, I saw that 42% of Black women are unmarried, and that is a huge number, especially compared to their white, Asian, Hispanic counterparts. So I wanted to know why and what, if anything, could be done about it. And it's such a complex issue that I think has to do with some internal reasons and then external reasons. Where, as a coach, obviously, I'm worried about the inside, the head, the heart, the mind. But I'm also worried about the perception of Black women in the US and abroad today. So I started a blab every Tuesday evening, and we talk about the 42%. So every Tuesday we're talking about why are 42% of Black women unmarried, and what, if anything, can be done about it. And the question is posed specifically in that manner because I don't want to blame the 42%, and I don't think that they're victims necessarily, but I also want to challenge the 42%, part of the 42% that actually want to get married. The 42% includes people who, up until recently, couldn't legally get married, or people who don't want to be married. It also includes, people that aren't looking for marriage necessarily, 18 to 24, and then other groups 50 plus that are maybe not looking to be married or have given up on marriage. So I wanted to be careful about the group, and but also provide solutions and challenge that notion, and hopefully do something about that statistic. So the book is informed by the blab conversations that we're having every Tuesday evening, and I have the first draft done, and I'm in the editing stage now, and I'm hoping to be done within the next few months and get it published by the end of the year.
Oh, cool. Well, that sounds really interesting because I when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's a pretty huge number of people because I didn't know about that. Now, I wanted to just ask you one more question about your coaching because I know that for some people, they don't think that that coaching could even help them. Who is it that, why wouldn't somebody want to have a life coach?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I'm gonna give an oversimplified answer, which is that they're just not ready. I think earlier in my coaching career, I was very discouraged when I would have a great call. I would have my 30-minute consultation. I thought it went well. And, then I got a no, or, maybe I'll get back to you. And that was so discouraging. And I racked my brain and I said, well, what did I do wrong? Was I not confident? Was it the pricing? Like, what is the issue? And I had a very wise person tell me, If they're not ready, they're just not ready. They're not ready to commit to the investment. They're not ready to commit to doing the work. And that's the most honest answer someone could give. I'd rather hear that than you sign up, pay your money, and then you don't do any of the work. And it's a waste of time for both of us. So for some people, unfortunately, I feel like they have to, you know, hit rock bottom, or they have some kind of wake up call. Some tragedy happens that's close to them, and then they're ready. Or maybe, they have some personal goal that they're working on. I want to, pay off my credit cards and then I'll be ready. It's not about me. I've learned, and I haven't, I've tried not to take it personal and try to explore the reasons why. Why don't they want to hire me? I just take it as they're not ready, whatever that means for them. They're not ready for me at this time. I'm not the right coach for them at this point, and maybe sometime in the future they will. But yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn because we want to help. I want to help everybody, and I just, I've talked to some clients that I thought would have been great potential clients, and I thought we would work well together, and it was a no. And later I found out they were in a bad situation or they weren't ready emotionally. I found some of that stuff out later, and sometimes you never figure out. Sometimes I never hear from them again. But yeah, the simple answer is they're just not ready.
Well, I think you're right because, again, there's so many factors involved. And again, when you do your introductory call and you're trying to figure out, is this a good fit? It may seem like a good fit, but if there's something underlying that you don't know about, and I think that the point that you made is you cannot take any of this personally. And that goes not only for a life coach, but in anyone who's in any type of business that it may or may not be a good fit, or sometimes no means not now.
Right.
And and how I know that is from my personal experience, and it has nothing to do with coaching. But when I was in the 8th grade, I had a crush on this boy, and he used to sit behind me and he would pull my hair. And it came time for the 8th grade dinner dance. And I remember I was so excited and everything. And this was back in, let's just say, the 70s. And I went to the 8th grade dinner dance, and here comes this boy. And I'm so excited. He's going to ask me to dance. And I wanted to dance, but I was so terrified. I was just like, oh no. He says, would you like to dance? And you know what came out of my mouth? No. I mean, and it sounded like that. It sounded like that. And you know what he did? He asked the girl sitting next to me, and she, of course, smiled and got up and danced. And of course, they dated for like a year after that. And it was just because I was terrified. I wanted to dance with this guy. I liked this guy. I thought he was so nice, and out of my mouth, no, just like that. And so he thought I hated him.
Yeah.
And that was not it at all. I really, really liked him. But that is an example of sometimes it's that terror of change, of why someone might not want to work with a life coach. So on that beautiful note, I would really appreciate it if you could tell us where we can find out more about you and your services and how we can buy your books.
Sure. All you have to do is go to StephanieGhoston.com. It's Stephanie with the PH, spelled the right way. Ghoston, GHOSTON.com, and you'll see everything there. It's very simple and laid out. If you scroll down to books, as Tammy mentioned, I was published in 2 best-selling books this year: 20 Beautiful Women, the 3rd volume, and then I Am Beautiful, The Evolution of Beauty. Those are both available for purchase. And if you want to go straight to the link, it's StephanieGhoston.com/book. And if you want to join in on the 42% discussions, I'd love to see you every Tuesday evening. We run it at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern on blab.im, and you can search for me on blab.im under Cultivated Sense. That's my coaching business name. And then also read more about the book. at stephanieghoston.com/the 42%.
That's
So,
very interesting. Well, I
yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks so much. That's wonderful.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Tammy.
joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Tammy.
Well, thank you. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.